Yo YouTube, what's going on? This is Spider Sage and we back at it again with another video. You know, we've been going kind of crazy lately, so if you've been enjoying the videos, thumbs up for show, subscribe for show, and just turn me up, man. Turn me up, please. Like, please turn me up. It takes a lot to make these videos, believe it or not. Believe it or not. But what we're watching today is a little clip from the Daily Wrap-Up crew. Now, I really like this podcast. I've been watching them a lot recently. I normally watch their full-length videos, but I saw this little clip, and I'm a religious guy. Well, not religious, but I like theology. I like spirituality. I like stuff like that. So if you ready to, you know, have a little bit of a broader discussion, you know, if you got an open mind, you ready for it, then let's go. Let's get into this. But otherwise, I do appreciate you checking me out. Otherwise, let's get right into it, y'all.
No.
If it was a spliff, you would have rolled it?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm tweaking.
It was just too far from you.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, we ain't get C yet, right?
I'm scared. C's holding off on us. I'm scared.
We back to religion and spirituality. Some individuals hold the opinion that strong religious beliefs act as a mental prison, hindering the progression and empowerment of our community. What are your thoughts on this sentiment?
I have no idea what you just said to me.
So basically,
Okay.
basically, like the question is saying that religion can put you in this headspace and kind of entrap you to how you want the world to be based on religion, and it's not. Sometimes those people are not very realistic about human traits and like how actual people, you know,
Like they so focused on the religion that they not focused on
Facts.
reality. Basically.
Facts.
Okay.
They only care about the rules, basically.
I entirely agree with that statement, especially when it comes to more of the Christian-based religions, because I think a lot of times the scriptures are misconstrued and or twisted because everyone is putting their opinions.
Look how
and their
uncomfortable.
bias on.
I'm sorry, but look how uncomfortable like she is to the left, and that's the problem with society today. Most people can't talk about their religion. Most people are so uncomfortable talking about the religion because it's blasphemous to even, you know, speak bad about it. It's like, bro, if you think like that, please do better.
On the certain scriptures, not really recognizing that one, this is a book, this is a story. And if you look at
See
it
how
from the
uncomfortable she
perspective
is?
of being a story that's being told.
If your religion cannot be critically examined, it's not a religion worth having. If your philosophy cannot be critically examined, it is not a philosophy worth having. If you cannot speak critically about something without it, you know, becoming a problem, maybe you shouldn't have that thing in the beginning. You know, that's just what I think, at least.
And very cursive language. There's metaphors in it, and not everything is like direct. It's not. It's not strictly. You know, it's not black and white. It's supposed to be interpreted for you and not for you. And I feel like the biggest one for me is, oh, you're not supposed to judge anyone. God's supposed to judge, but they're very judgmental.
Based off what they thought they read,
right?
How they received the message.
And I'm not religious at all. I've left the church when I was like 14, only because I was that child that had the massive amount of questions because none of it made sense to me. It didn't make any sense to me, and I'm like, well, I feel like I heard from a Jewish book that, you know, a Torah, that this is that, and then I'll be like, well, can you explain that to me, and why are they talking about the same thing but not the same thing? And I used to get like shit for it. So I'm more of a spiritual person. I believe more like in universal power and stuff, because I feel like all of the belief systems and religious systems that mankind, I'm going to say it again, mankind, human beings made up these systems.
Yes.
I feel like we're all talking about the exact same thing with different names, different words, but the disconnect with the world and why everything is in shambles is because we're not recognizing that we're all trying to explain and internalize the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a war against words.
I'm gonna let her finish.
Well said.
Okay. Yeah, well, I agree 100% with what she just said with the whole humans are making up these religions. And if you really do your research on these religions, you'll realize, you know, they all had a starting point. They all came from somewhere. Humans have existed longer than the religions. You know, life on Earth has existed longer than these religious ideas have. And before these religious ideas came into existence, there was no evidence of them. And the only evidence that comes up is the evidence that comes after these religious ideas are introduced. And that's just my take on it. What she's saying though is that all these humans come up with all these different religions, and we're just trying to explain the same thing. There's this greater sense of power, this greater sense of connectedness. We all came from somewhere, and we know consciousness has to be separate from our biology because we are capable of thought. So somewhere, this had to come from somewhere, and we're all explaining that as different things. I agree 100% with what she said. With the whole Christianity thing, I'm gonna talk a little bit more after this. About my own personal, how I grew up, my religious background. But with the Christianity thing, yeah, it's a lot of judgment. Christians are, number one, they don't practice what they preach. Abrahamic faiths, so that's all of them. All of them are pretty much founded on the same belief. They're all stem from the same core identity. It's just they branched off at different points. And then you have, Christianity that breaks off even more, but they all came from one religion. They came from one guy, Abraham, So it's something really to think about. If you're religious, especially the Abrahamic faiths, really get into that history.
I think religious people tend to be much more closed-minded. Like you said, they get stuck in their ways, and you can't even talk to them or have a meaningful conversation because they're like, I can't even hear you because you're trying to question my, religion and things of that nature. One thing I'd be really curious about is we got all of these different religions on Earth. Mm-hmm. If there is a heaven and you get to heaven and you worship the wrong religion your whole life, what if
right?
I fought
Big
God,
facts.
I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Do we still let you in? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So that's just always even asking that question might be taboo in certain religions. You're not even supposed to ask that. You know what I'm saying? So
and that's crazy because for real, what if you really gave your heart and soul thinking you was doing the right thing? You get to heaven and it's or you get to hell and it's no, you wasn't doing the right thing, bro. That's fucked. I
think when you talk about religion, people do be closed-minded, especially in certain communities. In our community, we as soon as we come out the womb, you're a Christian. You know what I mean? You can't even question, well, who the fuck God is, what the fuck God is, because now it's you can get slapped for asking that. You know what I'm saying?
Real talk.
You don't even get a chance to develop your own, thoughts. You know what I mean? So everything is just pushed onto you, and all right, it's just when you're born, you're a Democrat. You don't even get to choose. You know what I mean? And then when you choose, it's nigga, why are you choosing? You supposed to, you know what I mean? So
is anybody
not
else
just
not
religion.
Democrat?
Culture.
You can't even
your whole life.
even think about not being Democrat.
Decided when you're born.
Just saying, bro,
it's
too much.
I'm not a Democrat though.
Look at you what? You must be crazy. You know what I mean? So, and you just your own person with your own thoughts, and you know what I mean? You're allowed to have those thoughts. You know what I'm saying? So, you ain't hurt nobody with those thoughts. So,
man, I might get some flack for this, but in slave times, slaves were allowed to read Bibles but not read nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Bible, it was saying something about you should obey your master, worship your master, or whatever. But then it says you should only worship Jesus. So, there's a lot of contradictory things in the Bible.
There's a lot of contradictory things in the Bible because the Bible has been changed so many times. It's not even a question, If you really look into it, the Roman Catholic Church is supposed to be the original Church of God or Church of Christ. I don't care anymore. But come on now, the Romans killed and persecuted Christians and they took over the religion. Before the Roman Catholic Church, there was Gnosticism. There was a whole different version of Christianity before the Roman Catholics came over and standardized it for everybody. But most people don't know that. And what they did was kill a lot of those Gnostic people. They got burned, killed. Their Bibles were burned. Their children were killed. They were killed. And it's not too far from what we saw, in the Salem witch trials or something like that. Or even, I forgot what it was called. I think it happened in France or something like that. But we see with Christianity, this whole appeal of if you're the Christian the wrong way, we're going to kill you and we're going to burn everything and we're going to change the Bible. They didn't even want people reading the Bible way, way back when, They kept it in Latin. They kept it in Latin for a reason, for a good reason. So, it's a lot of contradictory things in the Bible because it's been changed so much. It is just a book, honestly. A book with a good message.
And then,
though. I like
like
it.
Eli says, like which one is the real one? Because there's different versions. Then they got New Testaments.
Mm-hmm.
So they went back to God and got more shit. Like it just really puzzles.
You got the
me, bro.
DLC.
Basically.
And then it's like, all right, so this first guy went and talked to God and came back like, yeah, this is what he said, blah blah. Like, how you know that's what he went up a mountain and talked to who? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like
It's hard to follow something that was man-made. You know what I mean? It's to follow what that man wants you to follow. So I get what you're saying for sure.
like Pusha said, man, I believe there's a God above me, but I'm just everything else is just whatever it is.
Yeah, I believe in that there was a creator. Someone did create everything. I grew up in a Christian home, and my mom was very strict. You know, my dad was in the streets, so he didn't really get, jiggy with that at all.
I hear that shit in a minute.
But
Yeah,
I have my own son, and we don't go to church. I do pray. I listen to gospel music sometimes, but I don't force religion on him at all. I just tell him, you treat people right, you treat yourself right, you carry yourself in a good manner. If you do wrong, just forgive. That's it. And when you go to sleep,
Forgiveness
you
is
can't
huge.
sleep at night, turn on a little gospel music or some lullabies and stuff, but be careful what you listen to. Because my son, he loves drill music. I personally don't rock with drill music, but he listens to it, so I don't say nothing about it, because growing up, I couldn't listen to that. We listened to gospel every single day, every Saturday. My mom cleaned up. We listening to gospel music, so I couldn't listen to like Mary J. Blige, none of that stuff, unless I was with my dad. Like my dad would play it because he didn't care. You understand? So I'm not too much of the Bible or heaven or hell, because I didn't have nobody come back yet to tell me that they went to these places. You understand? So
I get
until
that.
somebody could tell me, I experienced this, I actually, die, and I come and I could tell you this, in a dream or something, I'll believe it. Until then, when you die, you just die. For real.
And we will never know. Until somebody for real dies and comes back, we'll never know. And there is a lot of personal power to, having your own testament, I guess, or having your own experience with something. Because I've experienced some things, I'm not going to tell anybody, I'm not going to say it on camera, because then I look crazy as hell. But I've experienced things, and when you experience some things, it really does open your eyes, and you're like, what is this universe for real? What is the fabric of reality? Where am I? What is time? What is this dimension? What is even space? What is the fact that I am able to move freely? Through what? What am I moving through? It really opens your mind to those type of questions. I think that's all I got to say, really.
So
You go.
I just feel like you just resting. I'm never gonna see you again. I just have memories.
Well, I hate to get so personal because I just don't really like being too personal with my business, but there has to be a God. I just got shot 4 times and lived and walk and talk and do everything I used to do. And
I'm sorry, but that's the problem with a lot of Christianity. Though, oh yeah, there has to be a God because God gave me $1 million because God made sure I got to church today. And it's like, bro, if the evidence of God is that God is answering your prayers or God is doing good deeds for you, then you have to look at the cases and incidents where things are not going your way and things are not going favorably in your life. Who's responsible for that? Are you going to say the devil? They probably would. But that's the point. Like, why is God picking and choosing when you will have a good time? If he can always just make sure you have a good time, if he can ensure that for everybody, why is that not the default then? Why is it that we have to go through things and learn things? Why can't we just already have that? Why can't we already be at our prime if, there's a benevolent God who loves us and exists? Now, I do believe there's a creator. I'm going to get to that later, but I do believe there's a creator. I just don't think the creator is what most people think he is.
And only God can make that happen. You get what I'm saying? So I know we may have our doubts about what we read and what we hear, but, praying and keeping your prayers up, that shit matters. You know what I'm saying? We got minutes to talk to our friend. We could talk to our cousin. We could talk to our homeboy. We could talk to the person on the street. But if you believe in God, you could spend a few minutes talking to him. That's all I say.
Yo, did you have an experience while you was? I mean,
I had a few, man.
okay. You want to share?
No.
Nah.
But yeah, we'll get there.
Fair enough.
No, that was a pretty
I can't-
simple,
I'm
easy. That was a pretty chill one. That wasn't too long. But I do want to expound on some of the thoughts that was kind of touching on there. Now, I grew up a Jehovah's Witness, and that's technically a religion. In America, is recognized as a religion. They're losing their status in some countries because of some things they're getting into. You know, if you're really interested in that, go ahead and look it up. I'm not gonna say it on my channel, but yeah, I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. I didn't get out. Well, I was disfellowshipped. They kicked me out, shunned me. I can't talk to my family. None of that. When I was 17. But yeah, growing up in that religion, it was more so a cult. It was very strict. I couldn't watch certain things. I couldn't play certain things. I couldn't talk to people at school. The religion, as I was growing up as a child, would tell me that, you know, these kids are wicked. You can't talk to these kids. You can't trust these kids. And all these kids are going to die soon anyway because they're wicked and they're evil. That's exactly what they taught me. And this is an offshoot of Christianity. I can only imagine, you know, how bad some other forms of Christianity have gotten out there. But that's kind of that's my background with religion. I was raised a Jehovah's Witness. And then once I was disfellowshipped at 17, I went to college the next year. And that's when I started to study astrology, spirituality. I started to get into numerology, palm reading, stuff like that. The palm reading didn't really stick with me too much, but the crystals, the astrology for sure stuck with me. And for sure the numerology too. The numerology stuck with me too. And it's really just noticing patterns. You know, spirituality, I think more so than anything, is just realizing patterns and realizing your connection with things. You know, when certain things happen, you can almost immediately know what happens next. And that's just because of connections and patterns. So yeah, after I started doing that, it was about 2021, and that's when I really started meditating. And so that's when I really felt like I went from spirituality to consciousness. So I went from religion to spirituality to consciousness, and now I really don't have a belief system. You know, I think astrology is cool and I think it is a useful tool, but I don't really like believe in astrology. I don't know how to really put that, you know, with the whole, especially like the mythology. I don't believe in the mythology at all. But I do believe, you know, when we look up into the sky, we can make forecast about our day. Like, you look up into the sky, and I know this might seem like I'm reaching, but you look up into the sky, you see a whole bunch of dark clouds, you know it's gonna rain soon. You know, if I look up into the sky and I see a certain amount of stars, I see a certain array of stars, I know what season it is. If I look, so, you know, and the seasons are connected to how we feel, because a lot of animals, you know, we are bioengineered to react to our environment. So everything is connected. It might not seem, you know, the stars aren't influencing us. Yes, it's not literally the stars influencing you, but the stars point to a time period, you know. The stars show you what's happening. It's a pattern. And this pattern reflects back down into you. You know, everything is a cycle. Everything is going back up and down. What she was talking about, how she believes we just die and that's it. I don't believe that. No, I don't believe we die and that's it. I believe we're just like the rain. We go up, we go down. We go up, we go down. You look around this universe, that's everything. It's spinning in circles. Everything is spinning in circles, doing the same thing over and over again for millions of years, just spinning through this void. You know, I believe we are doing the same thing. I believe consciousness is separate from the material world and we're just going up and down, up and down. But these bodies are the only way we can actually interact with the material world. Otherwise, our consciousness just flows free. I don't believe we have individual consciousness. I believe consciousness is just all around us, like the air we breathe. It's not an individual pocket of air for everybody. No, everybody breathes the same air. Is going in and out of us. Is through everybody. And it's the same with consciousness. Consciousness is in and out of everybody. It's flowing through us all. And The only reason why we can't remember our past lives is because memory is hardware. Memory is our brain, they're connections. And our brains, when we die, are going to decompose from what we can see. You know, our brains are going to decompose, and that's where the memories are. That's where your personality is. That's where everything is. Everything that you think is you really technically isn't you. You don't exist without both the intersection of consciousness and the material. That's what creates you. Otherwise, there's just consciousness and there's just the material world. It's the intersection that creates you. You. But I don't believe I exist, you know. I don't believe you exist. I believe we are the one. That's what I truly believe. That's just my thoughts on it. And if you enjoyed the video, if you thought anything I said was, you know, expounded your mind or anything, or you liked what I said, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And welcome to the Cluster Gang. You know we going crazy. I'm back at it like a motherfucking crack addict, and we not gonna stop until I pop. What are you talking about? Thank you for all the support and all the love. It really does mean a lot to me. I hope you guys are having a great day. It's 1 o'clock and I am tired, but I am pumping out these videos. So give me some support, man. Until next time, y'all take care now.